I really think Buddy was trying to save up for like a hairline. I think he was looking for a hair transplant. And he needed That's the only thing. How desperate do you have to be to only get $600? I just don't understand. Like, do you know you're going to jail?
Wouldn't you like to be rich?
What's good, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Friends Like Mine. I'm Natalie.
I'm Helen.
Jay is enjoying a very well-deserved vacation at the moment. So this week you get Helen and I. It's going to be just as good of a time. We're actually re-recording this episode because as you saw if you checked out our Instagram post, we recorded a phenomenal episode last
Friday.
literally yesterday. No, it was yesterday. Yesterday morning. And had a great chat, a real good yap, the three of us. I thought we really covered a lot of good shit. And then I did not realize I had some technical difficulties and didn't realize that it didn't record. So unfortunately we are starting over, but it's good. It's really good because you get to get some variety in the feed. Jay will be back in your speakers real soon. We have a pretty cool guest lined up if I can get the timing to work out for this next week. And so we've got a lot of stuff going on. This was good to just be me and you, Humpy.
Yep.
How was your week?
It was good.
Yeah? What were you up to? What were you up to?
Traveled for work.
Yeah?
Left Tuesday. To Maine. Got back on Friday morning.
Okay.
And yesterday was a nice day. After we recorded,
Yeah.
we went, got tons of food.
Yeah, we did.
Chilled.
Yeah.
And then today we had brunch. Shout out to my little sister. It's her birthday.
Hey, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Chili. She's been on the show before. So if you remember the Book It episode, happy birthday to
For
Chili.
those that don't know her name is Lourdes.
Oof. Throwing the government out there. Yeah.
She's my sister. So big shout out.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I hope you had a good time. Brunch was good.
It's
a good time for sure.
Yeah.
Always some laughs with that bunch. You never know what you're going to hear or say or do. You never know any of that. But yeah, it was a good time. I was a single mom who works 2 jobs this week. Helen was out on her work trip from Tuesday to Friday morning. She actually surprised me. She woke up at the crack of dawn, and she was only an hour and a half from home at that point.
2 hours.
2 hours from home. Drove home to be here before I started work so she could say hi to me and get her day together. So I appreciated that. And yeah, it was a really chill week. I want to stop right here and thank everybody. Honestly, the views, the reactions, everything that's been happening on social media has been absolutely incredible. We cannot thank you guys enough for your support. We see you, we hear you, we appreciate you. Welcome new subscribers on YouTube, and welcome new followers if you're following us on TikTok. That's a new social media platform. We are Friends Like Mine Pod on TikTok. Keep hitting those links. You can go to our Instagram page, and I'll throw it in the episode description. We have a link tree where you can catch up on past episodes. You can find our YouTube page if you want to just get straight to the source. You can check out our Instagram and our Twitter. We're working on building that back up. But again, really big thank you. We've been getting a lot of views. And hey, shout out to the person who took the time to dislike 2 of our videos this week. Our haters are our biggest motivators. I would encourage you to keep watching. You're going to find a lot of material that you're going to like. You're going to find a lot of good conversations. And hey, we may even surprise you. So keep coming back, even if it's just a rage watch. We appreciate the views either way. Don't stop that. And the more you interact, the more that it pushes our content out there. So hey, there's that as well. Y'all, hit the email in the group chat. We'd love to talk to you guys. We'd love to see if we can help. We'd love to just vent or, have a little yap, get the tea, hit the gossip, whatever it might be. But again, really appreciate you following us on socials. I will remind y'all where to find us at the end of the episode as well. But I wanted to get into a couple things. So, it's the weekend. New music coming out every week. I'm a big Uh, big on hitting that new tab Friday morning on Apple Music while I'm getting ready for work and kind of getting into my day. And It's been a couple interesting releases. So I played the Feid EP for you.
Yep.
What'd you think?
I gotta say it's probably one of my favorites.
Okay.
I like that kind of music for him.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
more like Afro beats, right?
A little bit.
A little bit,
A
kind
little
of like
bit.
reggae, still rap, but I think it's one of his better ones. Um,
I have what I think people are gonna say, maybe a hot take, but I think Feid makes better music when he's single and like pining for Carol G. And I know that's like so messed up to say, but this EP is probably one of the better releases that I've seen from him over the last like year or two. And the thing is, Feid puts out a ton of music. I don't really know how to follow the naming conventions on his
Fercho
albums.
and Fade.
This one's like Fercho versus Fade, something or other. I would be lying if I told y'all that I knew the name, but it was a refreshing take. He's got some interesting stuff on there, and I like the direction that it's going in. But again, I think a lot of that comes from the fact that he's broken up. Maybe that's what he needed to lock in. I don't know. I don't know. Um, I had a phase where I really liked a lot of Fade's earlier music building up in the few years, but then we went to see him, was it last summer?
Yeah,
Last summer?
no, 2 summers
2
ago.
summers ago at this point maybe, and I will admit it was not my favorite show. I thought the show it wasn't even him, I'm not gonna lie. I think it was just a crowd, but we went, it was a pretty big group of us. We went a couple summers ago. I was super hyped for the show, and I left just kinda being like, "Yeah, I cool artist, probably won't ever go see him in concert again." I don't
Yeah.
know.
For me, it was just he was hopping around too much,
You gotta look at the camera, kid.
and it was kind of hard to keep up because it was like he was just going from corner to corner, like he was just playing tennis or
Fade the
pickleball. I was like, yo,
pickleball.
yeah, I was like, but it was nice. Except I think also like the audience, the crowd was just not
Not it.
very no.
Yeah, they didn't. We went and saw him in Hartford, and I saw pictures and video of the Boston show, and the Boston show was lit.
Yeah,
Boston show was crazy. Crowd was really hype. I just feel like the Hartford show was kind of dead, and that didn't contribute. I mean, it's to the fact that like I don't think I'd ever go see him again. Uh, again. I don't think I'd ever go see him again. Nothing against his music or anything. Like I said, I do like some of his stuff. It was one of those things where like it doesn't translate as well on stage, for me at least, as I think it could have in the album. But it is what it is. I mean, there's somebody for everybody, but I do think that Fade making some heartbreak music or being heartbroken is he even looks different. I
I was
don't.
gonna say he looks much better.
You think?
Yeah,
But what is that about?
he actually looks handsome.
So what is that about, you think?
I don't know. He just looked. I think when he was like with Karol G, in my opinion, he just looked worn down.
Do you think she was stressing that man out?
Probably because he was losing his hair much faster.
Fade's Fade's hairline has been fighting for its life for a few years now. I mean, it's
Real.
like I don't necessarily understand if he's intentionally cutting his hair this way or if he's losing his hair and he's leaning into it. He's always got a hat on, and then I feel like lately he's been doing a lot of stuff without the hat. Like he did the Monstro video for the Tiny album, and
Hmm.
he's not wearing a hat in that video.
Yeah. No. And I mean, he looks much better. So shout out to our breaks.
Yeah, sometimes
Sometimes it's good.
just go out and get your heart broken. It's fine. You make the best album of your career. But no, I mean, obviously, it's sad that they broke up. I really liked them as a couple. I think she had kind of a really high period in her career once she came out of her relationship with 901. It was a lot less toxic. But on the same token, it's like there was like a disbalance almost. Like I feel like his music was in a different space. Again, he releases music at such a high volume that it's also a little difficult to keep up with it. I've liked a few songs here or there. Obviously, not hating on Feid. He's a talented guy and he's a great songwriter. He's written a lot of amazing songs lately.
Yeah.
I just think that the music definitely takes a turn. Maybe it's like motivation for him.
Yeah.
You think if they get back together, his albums are gonna go back to just being okay?
I don't really see them getting back together.
You think? Who do you think was at fault?
I really, I don't see.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think happened? What's your theory?
I mean, I don't think it was like cheating. I mean, I don't know them enough or follow them enough,
Oh,
but
you didn't hit him in
I
the group
just
chat?
no, I didn't. I lost her number.
Oh, well, that happened.
No, I think it's more like they were just on two different levels. She was really, really like hitting her peak
Mhm.
at that point. I think it was hard with all like the tour and like the music and this and this and that, and she got really popular and he was on his way there.
They've done
But
a lot in the last few years.
yeah, I mean they're cute together. I personally thought that they were cute together. Um, but I mean,
Do you think that sometimes it's like maybe they're not meant to be together long term, but this is the person who's supposed to pull you out of that like big heartbreak and dark space and bring you back to it, and now she's ready to maybe like find her guy?
yeah, I think like you know like they say, everybody comes to your life for, one reason or another. And yeah, that can very well be that he came and he mended her, heart and gave her kind of like it was like a new fresh of air and showed her something different. And she now knew like she's not going to be stuck on this guy. And I don't know, maybe she's just moving on. She's,
It happens.
yeah.
It happens. Another album that I listened to and I played a little bit for you and Jalen.
Oh, please.
And it didn't come out this week. It came out 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I've been meaning to talk about this. Is the Bad Gal album. So it's called Mascara. Um, I was browsing. I would be lying if I said that I'm like an active Bad Gal listener or fan. She had a song recently with Zion that I like a lot. Um, and she's had some songs throughout the years. Obviously, she's pop. She's got a song with Karol G. She did a song with Zion. She had Chulo with Tokisha and Young Miko, and that was like a big song. And I heard her first album, and it wasn't bad. I just feel like this album they made it on like a Fisher Price keyboard.
Yeah. I didn't care for it. I mean, I don't really care for her music, but I think that maybe the reason why she was successful with those other songs is because she was like a featured.
Feature, you think?
I think like she's a good backup
Good
singer
backup dancer.
and dancer. I don't really
I don't know. I
feel
just
like
feel
her
like
music is anything that I would go out of my way to listen to.
I was
If it's
surprised.
if it's there, then
It's not a bad vibe for sure sometimes, but I feel like some of the songs on this album, like I'm listening to them and I'm like, this is the kind of shit that you pick up at like the flea market. Like this is the album you pick up at the flea market. I think she was trying to do old school 90s reggaeton, but like the execution wasn't quite there. And and I was surprised because again, you're looking at an artist who's had pretty moderate success along the way. She's a decent following, and yet it it just sounded cheap. Like again, all the Bad Gal fans out there, if you want to jump in the comments and eat me up, I get it, whatever. But again, I just listened to it and I was like, this is very like this sounds low, but it sounds low budget, and I just think that whoever's in her camp isn't doing her any favors, because if the vibe was like old school reggaeton or to chase something that sound that you had, that iconic 90s reggaeton sound, you could have hunted down producers to do that who would have made it sound good, but not made it sound low budget. It just sounded like there was no investment in it. The label maybe didn't pick up on it. And maybe it's because I'm not checking for her, but I haven't heard a ton of hype around it either.
I mean, I didn't hear about it until
Are you,
brought it up.
have you listened to any of her music specifically before this?
No.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Like, I just haven't been checking for her like that, but I expected better, especially when it's your sophomore album and you've been somebody who's been picking up a lot of really good features. Because Young Miko Tokisha, they're all having moments right now in the genre, and it's a moment for women to come up. In reggaeton, I think like people are paying attention, just like in hip hop, women are having a moment. You know, you got rappers like Lotto and Cardi B, and Glorilla. You have others too, but I think that those like Megan Thee Stallion, they're having their moment. Like females in hip hop are definitely, you know, coming up a lot more. So I would hope that she would have had better investment. I would hope that like they'll release a deluxe edition with some better, cleaner tracks. But this did not pass the test for me.
Yeah, I mean,
It was a no for me, dog.
I'm not gonna go and listen to it anytime soon.
Yeah, that was it. I played 3 tracks for you and Jalen, and Jalen said it sounds like it was recorded on an AirPod, and I was like, that's kind of real.
Yeah. No, I didn't care for it.
That's
So,
fair. That's fair. And then the other thing I saw, which I thought was interesting, was there's been a lot of chatter on Twitter and Reddit
mhm.
about Daddy Yankee possibly making a comeback. And it stems from the fact that some of his producers from the King Daddy era, so we had the album King Daddy, which had songs like La Nueva y la Ex, kind of like that merengueton era that he was in, that like club Yankee era. They were playing some very similar type King Daddy beats, and they kept saying like 2026, we're bringing reggaeton back, we're gonna set the genre right, and you know, kind of hinting that something was coming. And so people started to say, oh, it's a King Daddy 2 album. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I like Daddy Yankee. I'm not mad at what he's doing now. I think if you're leaning into your faith, that's fantastic. Like, do that. But I think Daddy Yankee has done a lot simultaneously to very openly distance himself from the genre, to the point that I think somebody had asked him if he would join Bad Bunny on stage at the Super Bowl, if that Bad Bunny invited him. And he gave him his props. Like, he wasn't hating, but he was just like, I'm not doing that. He released a Christian album. I don't necessarily see the point of Daddy Yankee coming back at this point and doing that.
I mean, unless his Christian album didn't make any money, so.
But do you think it's a money grab, or do you think it's more about like he I also don't necessarily understand the commentary behind like setting the genre right or making reggaeton better, because in my opinion,
Bad Bunny
reggaeton
got
is better
this all day.
not even that, because Bad Bunny, like, we talk about Bad Bunny a lot on the podcast. He's not the only artist in the genre that I can say like, oh, I fucks with this
I
person or
mean,
that
Rauw
person. Rauw Alejandro.
Rauw Alejandro, wow. Rauw Alejandro was good. Jay Cortez,
Jaco.
Jaco. I mean, yeah, Jay Wheeler.
Jay
Shout out
Wheeler.
to Jay Wheeler.
I love Jay Wheeler.
I
Jay
love
Wheeler's
that guy.
hilarious. He's like dream podcast guest, and he does shit like that all the time. So I gotta figure out a way to get active with Jay Wheeler and be like, "Hey, maybe I can get famous enough for him to join the podcast." He's funny.
He is funny.
He's funny, and his daughter is so cute, and his wife is so sweet. Like, their
Very
family is very
genuine
cool.
people.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
tell.
I like when he does that. ¿Cómo se dice Puerto Rico? I think that voice is so funny to me. But yeah, you got Jay Wheeler. I think there's even other artists, because, for instance, Omar Court's new album is top notch.
Yeah.
Omar Courtz is making great music right now. Dave V's making great music. You have a lot of artists who are doing well, and reggaeton is pushing boundaries and in spaces that it never used to exist before. So it's weird for me to hear like reggaeton is saving, we're gonna go back and reset it. No hate, because I grew up on Daddy Yankee. I grew up on Don Omar and Tego and all of those people, the Baby Rasta gringos of the world. Even though they had shit to say about Bad Bunny too, like, I just don't see where there needs to be a cultural reset. If anything, I think that we should give a lot of credit to the new artists because they are making big waves. Arcangel is somebody who has adapted.
Shout out to Unhun.
Arcangel's
His
phenomenal
new
music. His
his
new
new
album's good
album is
too.
so
And he's got Daddy Yankee on there actually, and they made a Christian song. So like I don't necessarily think until I hear Daddy Yankee himself co-sign it, I don't believe that hype, but what do I know, right? I don't necessarily know if it would make sense for me to see somebody do all this work to separate or distance themselves from a type of music and then not even a really like a year or two removed from that situation out of nowhere come back and say I'm gonna fix things, I'm coming back with another album. I don't see that happening.
I mean, and there's nothing to fix.
Right.
I think like anything else, it's evolving.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's changing. It doesn't mean that it's not good. It's just different. And I think it's, there's, I don't know, there's nothing to fix. So he could just stay, in church and
And again, I don't necessarily
follow
know
his
that we
faith.
can attribute those comments to him. I think it's more those producers. I think they're the musicólogos. I feel like we've seen artists do this too because, again, there's nothing wrong with finding God. If that's what you're doing, I applaud and appreciate and celebrate your journey. I think that what I do notice is, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but like some of these reggaeton artists find God and then they really want to act as if reggaeton is suddenly this like terrible genre. It's so bad. It's the worst thing ever. But you steady got bread off that for many, many years.
Faruco.
That's what I was gonna say. So Faruco made arguably phenomenal reggaeton music. I really loved Trap Ficante, but it's spelled with like a trap Ficante. That album was very good. I like that a lot. And that was one of his older songs. Faruco had a good run. And then after Pepas, which was the biggest hit of his career, you suddenly see Faruco takes this big turn out of nowhere and starts making Christian music and says God spoke to him and this and that. And since then, I feel like he fell off for a little bit and now he's kind of come back on a couple songs. Definitely not making the music he used to make. And I applaud him for staying steady to that. But you never hear Faruco, and maybe I missed it, you never really hear him come out and be like, this genre is so bad, blah, blah, blah. You don't see all that. What you see is somebody who said, this isn't for me anymore. This isn't the life for me anymore. I'm out of here. And I'm not saying Daddy Yankee did that because, again, I think he's been pretty respectful. But if some of these comments can be attributed to him, I think that's a shit take. And I would highly disagree with that because this is the genre that you made bread off of for what 20, 25, maybe even 30 years. What do you mean it needs fixing? Like if anything you handed it off and these guys are doing good. You've got in the trap era, in the trap genre, you've got Eladio and Luar Lael and Young Chimmy really doing their thing over there. Bad Bunny's handling what I would consider to be the most mainstream reggaeton. Rauw Alejandro is in his bag right now. I think he is optimal when he's in that Afro beats
Yeah.
space. And then, you've got your J. who make like that fringe reggaeton that we talked about. It's a little darker, it's a little different. And even your Jay Wheeler, who most people would say is more like, and Omar Courts are more like the R&B boys
Yeah.
of reggaeton, right? Kind of where Rauw started. And so I don't agree with that. I think it's a piss take to be like, oh, I'm here to fix the genre, I'm here to make things better. But nobody asked you to do that. Nobody asked you to do that. Would you be down for a new Daddy Yankee album? You feel like you're past it?
Yeah. I mean, I loved him in 2000.
Not you saying that. I wouldn't say he fell off, but he definitely his
I
music
mean,
has
it's just
changed.
it was just that it was like okay, it was good. It was something that he introduced, right? It was cool. You dance, you were at the club, and it was a good time. I don't think that, in my opinion, like he had any songs like other than Gasolina that were like on repeat for me.
Mm. I like Daddy Yankee early days. right?
Yeah, but I think,
You know, I grew up listening to
yeah,
reggaeton.
I
Like, I was in
didn't.
a different era.
I
I liked early Daddy Yankee.
I remember, Don Omar, like that's. But I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't so deep into that music.
I mean, again, I don't. I know we sound like haters, and people are probably like, who qualified you to have these takes? These are just my opinions. Like, if you're out here welcoming, and that's the thing, I listened to Daddy Yankee's Christian album and I liked it. But what I will say is this: Daddy Yankee early on was a big pioneer of reggaeton. He was that dude. Gasolina really helped to start put reggaeton out in the mainstream. However, comma, I will say that somewhere in the middle of his career, there was an era where I really wasn't like loving Daddy Yankee music because I think it got too poppy, too it was like too like syrupy sweet.
Early pop.
Yeah, it was just very like I don't know.
It was
And I
very
feel like all his songs started to sound the same. Like that duro. And the thing is, if you actually study or watch or like Daddy Yankee, dude can flow. He has flow. He is a great rapper, but I feel like his music became way too commercial and way too like poppy and just like it wasn't for me. So for me, his last album was really good. That very last album he put out was really good. And some of his earlier stuff was really good. And then somewhere in between, I wasn't really checking for. But I'm one person, right? I'm sure a lot of people love that. He had great success over the trajectory of his career, and he went out on top. He went out his way. I think that coming back completely degrades that, which is hypocritical because at one point Jay-Z retired and came back. But again, I think it's different.
Yeah.
In fact, Jay-Z's hint, hint. Jay-Z is doing 2 shows in New York this summer. I'm really trying to be at one of those shows. I heard my wife's gonna treat me to concert tickets. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
You never know.
So yeah, that's that. I don't necessarily think that we're dying for a Daddy Yankee album. I'm sure that all of the people, the ladies our age who grew up listening to
What's
Daddy
his real name?
Yankee.
Ramon.
Is it?
Yeah,
I
mira,
didn't know that.
hermano Ramón,
Hermano Ramon.
quédese donde está.
And it's not we're not making a mockery of it because I really do appreciate
No, for me, I think what I struggle with is like you kind of were saying earlier, like he's over here, saying all these things about reggaeton and all that, and how it's bad and how
he hasn't, to be
he
fair, he hasn't said that, but he was like, I'm not doing that anymore. That's not my
okay,
world.
and that's fine. That's fine. But I mean, I don't know if he said it or not, but this goes out to, all those people like they are doing something, and while they're doing it, it's okay, it's cool, it's, the minute that they stop, then it becomes a problem because they're no longer wanting to do that. And everybody else has to kind of change or, or if not,
Stop and run around and be like, oh, how do we make
yeah.
space for this?
And that's fine. I mean, I think that you are capable of seeking God, in having a relationship with God without condemning or judging others.
I like that. That's fair. That's fair. And I will say this, I liked his Christian album. I thought that he executed very well on the concept of reggaeton in the Christian world, and I'm sure there are others doing it. I am by no means a subject matter expert on that. He did a good job, but again, it was because he capitalized on that very commercial reggaeton sound. It was very much like the dancey, flashy reggaeton he became known for. He's making music. He's making music for? He's making music for the tias at this point. Like the people who post
Oh, yeah.
it's very tia coded. This is a very Latino experience. And shout out to Mami Mari. Shout out to my mother-in-law, Mami Mari. I feel like women of a certain age, Hispanic women of a certain age, they reach a point where it's almost like it like enters your body and you don't even know you're doing it. And suddenly everything is like a GIF or a glitter emoji. Like, does your mom send you those like good morning and it's like a strawberry shortcake
Yeah.
cartoon character?
A bear, butterfly, and everything is just shimmering.
And it's like, buenos dias y bendiciones. And you get like these big gifts.
Yeah.
Or you would have a Facebook video, you upload a reel of yourself absolutely throwing ass, like twerking, completely throwing ass, and you'll get one of your tias under there like, saludes, mija, que gusto verte, saludes desde Guate, or saludes desde San Juan. And you're like, bro, I'm out here throwing ass, putting a thirst trap, and my aunt's out here shouting me out. But I feel like it's a mandatory thing. Like once you hit a certain age, you're a tia. Nephews and nieces or not, you become a tia at some point. And it's a rite of passage a little bit. I'm sure that at some point I'll start sending glitter emojis. I also feel like it's a little bit more prevalent on WhatsApp, which
Yes, I don't understand that.
WhatsApp is funny to me because it's always been around. It's been around for forever. And I forget a lot of the time how popular WhatsApp is.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of the US. I feel like we're the only people on the earth who are not using WhatsApp as prolifically as others would. Like, do you find that?
Yeah.
Everywhere outside of the US, they're texting on WhatsApp. They're not hitting you on.
No. Either that or like they use IG a lot.
Yeah? That's new to me. I didn't know they like so they're in the DMs.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really care for it.
I feel like it's a thing you have to get used to using though, because it makes more sense. It's also a secure form of texting, which I don't think about. But
Really? Didn't
yeah,
know
it's
that.
encrypted.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you need to send all your secretitos, that's how you do it.
Ooh, now I know.
I was gonna start sending me messages on WhatsApp. And it's wait, at a certain age, it's like it just kicks in. You don't even know you're doing it. My mom for months, shout out my mom. For months, my mom had been telling me, like, I sent you pictures. Didn't you get the picture I sent you? And I'm like, I don't know where the hell you're sending these pictures. They're not coming to my phone. And she's like, this phone's a piece of junk. We're on the same cell phone plan. We both have, I think our phone models are like she has like an iPhone 15. I have the 16. They're not old phones by any means. And for months, it was sending you pictures. You never get the pictures I send you. And I'm on the other side going, I sent you pictures and video. You never seem to get the shit I send you. What's going on? I open WhatsApp and I scroll down a little bit for whatever reason. And there's my mom. Apparently, I put her on Do Not Disturb on WhatsApp. And I had like 47 unread messages of her like sending pictures, sending videos, sending things. And there's some freaking gifts in there. And I was like, wow. So we just decided to start using WhatsApp, and she never told me that and just expected me to know.
That's the thing that was kind of like crazy to me. It was like out of nowhere. She starts because we've always texted.
Yeah, always.
And out of nowhere, she's over here like, that's up. And I'm like, what do you even know about that?
I would imagine that it's probably because of where she worked, like the geographical area of where she works.
Which makes
there's a lot
sense,
of
but
Hispanic people there.
It just doesn't make sense to us.
No. And I exclusively talk to other people on WhatsApp. Like my dad lives out of the country, so I only talk to him on WhatsApp. Only. And that it makes sense to me because he's outside of the country and it's free. And that kind of was the appeal. So I imagine that's why it makes sense for people around the world too, because it's internet based. It's not attached to a specific cell phone carrier. So
I mean, yeah, and that
that's
makes
smart.
sense outside of the US, but here it's just, I don't know.
I feel like cellular plans, and I should know more about this, but I feel like cellular plans also work a lot differently outside of the US. Like, I know that at one point it used to be that you could just, and I think you still can, you can get an eSIM for your phone when you get to your country of choice and you just pay the fee, whatever, there's like a set fee per day to use it.
Yeah.
And now you're just using their cellular service.
And I think, and that's the thing too, is that the reason why, now that I remember, they use WhatsApp is because a lot of the times they don't have like unlimited text messaging like
See,
we
I
do.
never thought of that. I couldn't tell you the last time that I worried about how many text messages I had sent in a month. Text messaging, unlimited text messaging, very quickly picked up here, and then it just never went away. So I don't, to me, like, it's so weird. I also can't remember the last time that I had to worry about how many minutes I had.
They
So,
also
like,
don't like have internet a lot of the times.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So they'll have a cell phone, they can make calls. A lot of the times they won't have like internet and or they'll have only like so much before it gets shut off.
Ooh.
Because a lot of the times like they would come to my parents' house, like, my family, and then connect to Wi-Fi because they didn't have any more.
Do you think that you could go back to, or not go back, right? Because you're not necessarily going backwards. It's just a lifestyle shift. But do you think that you could exist in a space where there's not the internet like readily available?
Yeah.
Really? You love being on your phone. Like,
I mean, only because there's nothing else to do.
right. So what would you do if you didn't have that?
Like go out and on walks, talk to people.
Helen being social.
Yeah, I know. Uh
Sorry, do that again.
Hang out. Um I mean, there's so much more that you can do.
There is. There absolutely is. I think we're very reliant on technology. I say that as I ask strangers across the internet to watch me talk into a microphone for an hour and a half every week. But
Yeah.
don't stop watching.
Yeah.
But I also think that, like, I have to be honest, I love my phone, so I don't know that I could do it. I genuinely don't, but I guess you figure it out and you adapt. It's different too, because like for us, we don't think about those things and we have a cell phone plan that lets you use your phone. Like if we're over there, it's the same shit.
Mhm.
So that's crazy to me too, because it's just not even a thing you think about. It isn't,
Yeah.
you go, you pick up your phone, you move, you whatever. And I don't know, maybe like people live different lives because of that.
I mean, I don't know, but that honestly, that week that I was in Guatemala, it was just
You had a good time.
amazing. Yeah, and it's not like I did a lot. It was just like life just moves, so much slower. Like you wake up and you hear the rooster and you hear just nature and people are still talking to each other. People know each other from, like in town. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of, gossip and she said, and he said, but I mean, at the end of the day, like there is a community.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you don't really even get to know your neighbors.
No.
Like we know one of our neighbors and that's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, you know,
And I feel
um,
like that's been the case a lot. Like, I couldn't tell you the last time that we knew neighbors.
yeah.
And that maybe that makes us
Like
bad
I mean,
neighbors.
the kids, um, they would go to school from like I think it was like 7 to 12.
Mm.
By 12 they were done. Come home, eat lunch, then go out, do something, go play soccer. There's just so much more to do.
That's
It's just life is
interesting.
so different. People are happy with the bare minimum. Here it's just like
And sometimes I wonder,
the
like,
more
if
you
going
have,
back
the
to
more you
that
want.
simplicity, but that right there, that's it. Speaking of the more you have, the more you want. We're just getting great segues today. I was sent by my cousin, so shout out Michelle. And you guys have seen her on the podcast. She was also on episode 2, Prima.
Pretty much.
Shout out my cousin Michelle. She sent me the funniest video I've seen all week. I was crying because I was like,
Oh,
this is crazy. There was a man in New York this week who attempted to rob a string of banks. In fact, across New York City, he hit 6 different banks. The reason that it's hilarious and the reason that everybody's laughing at this man on the internet is because he has to be the most unsuccessful bank robber of all time. But he hit 6 banks, and only actually managed to get cash from 3 of them. And in total, mind you, this man went on a crime spree, as a lot of people would call it. He was sliding the teller's notes. I don't think he had a weapon, but he had to. That's maybe why some of the tellers were like, absolutely not. Homeboy walked away with $605. And now the police are looking for him because
felony.
he did nothing to cover his face. They had his whole ass face on the internet within like a few hours of all this shit going down. But dude literally hit 6 banks, and in 6 banks only managed to walk away with $605. They said that at the last bank he went to, which I think was in Harlem, the teller gave him $20. And I can picture that too. I can picture a teller in Harlem being like, "Are you dead ass right now? Are you dead ass?"
The heck out of here! You wasted my time.
I feel like she may have taken that $20 out of her own purse to give to him. Like you
Get a job, guy.
This is so sad. $600 is not something to live a life of crime for. I'm not going to jail for $600. That's absolutely crazy work to me.
Yeah.
You can make that so many other ways.
Go DoorDash.
Go DoorDash. Yeah, that's true. You could DoorDash.
OnlyFans. You can make a lot more.
My theory is I'll post a picture of him on the podcast. This criminal mastermind looks crazy. I really think Buddy was trying to save up for like a hairline. I think he was looking for a hair transplant. And he needed that. That's the only thing. How desperate do you have to be to only get $600? I just don't understand. Like, do you know you're going to jail?
Yeah, I don't think he even knows what planet he lives on.
I don't know, like if there's, and y'all hit us in the comments with your thoughts here, but there has to be a threshold for there has to be a monetary threshold for what I am willing to spend and sacrifice going to jail for, and it's not 600 and whatever. I think it was $605. It's just not. That's not
Crazy.
it. That's not it. And I don't know if because the amount is so low, it doesn't rise to the occasion of like being a felony. But I also can't imagine that it isn't, because I think bank robbery in general is a capital offense.
I mean, a thief is a thief. It doesn't matter. He could have stolen a piece of gum.
Is it like grand larceny? I don't even think it amounts to grand larceny at that point, because it's $600. $600. You could go get a payday advance for that much. You could literally get a fairly decent paying job and make $600 in a week and not have to worry about going to prison and, having prison type experiences.
Was he walking or was he driving?
Bro took the subway from bank to bank, because they have pictures of him holding a coffee in the subway waiting for the next train, and he looked so fucking bored. He looked bored. Imagine you're out robbing banks and you look bored. Like, that should let you know everything you need to know about yourself. That's somebody who doesn't give a fuck about their life.
Yeah.
You don't give a shit about your life. You can't possibly tell me that you care about your life and you're out here robbing banks for no $600. Go to hell. I'm sorry. Go to hell. You're whack for that. Who's that stupid? You imagine your man comes home from a long day. He looks absolutely exhausted. He's like, babe, I hit it big. And he puts $600 on the table.
I'll just turn him right in.
Yeah. The reward is bigger than how
I mean, look, they're giving me 10,000. Love you. It's been real.
It's been real. She's not even
won't be waiting.
You're not getting J pay for him. What is it? Prison chat. J.
You know what? Because they giving me 10,000, I'm gonna put like $50 on the books for you, so you can get your little ramen. That's as much as I'm doing for you.
I was like, I am not a ride or die. Like, not like that.
Not for stupidity.
$600 is bullshit. That's a waste of time. Dude, bro, I promise. If one of my friends came to me and was like, I robbed a few banks last week, I made $600. I'm smacking the shit out of you. What the f are you doing?
And then I'm turning you in.
And then I was like, I'm turning you in. Regardless, I'm turning you in. I cannot imagine robbing $600 and feeling proud of it. I wouldn't tell a soul.
Get dollars.
And now the whole internet knows about him and the news is looking for him, which just makes it even more embarrassing, because there are people on live TV. There was an old man in the clip they sent me. I got to post a clip. He literally gets on. He's like, you could tell just by looking at him that he's not right in the head. And I'm like, I went out, I robbed a bank, I did this big criminal thing, and everybody is talking about me. And it's not because I'm a famous bank robber. Like, remember, do you, yo, and there are times when like somebody will do something that's not a good thing, but they get famous off of it anyways.
Infamous.
No, I mean famous. Because do you remember a few years ago when they posted that guy's mugshot and he became the hot felon?
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
remember the hot felon? Women were losing their minds. They were ready to drop their draws for a good old
The white
time.
boy?
No, he was like mixed and he had the blue eyes.
Oh, yeah,
Look
yeah,
it up.
yeah,
Look
yeah.
up Prison
No,
Bay
I
on your phone.
remember. I remember.
Jeremy something or other. He ended up becoming a model. He got out of prison and
mean,
he
he was
got
good looking.
modeling out of that. And he ended up dating somebody he left like his wife and kids, I think. And he ended up dating a very famous heiress. I'm probably getting the lore mixed up, but dude became viral and got a lot of opportunities off the fact that people did not care what he went to prison for because he was good looking. Which just goes to show you also can't do crime if you're ugly, I feel like.
Yeah, guy. You
And
could have at least gotten enough for like a
yo,
new look.
take $40 out of that 600 you got and go get a fitted or a snapback or something. You need a hat. You need a hat. You need a hat. He had a
Get
beanie
a
on in one of the
toupee.
videos. Nah, he had a beanie on in one of the videos and dude looked like a dummy. Like he just looked like a clown. And I just have to say, if you're going to do crime, like if you want to be viral for being a criminal, you got to be like really good looking. Because somebody like me can't go out and commit a crime right now. I can't go rob a bank for $600. People are going to be talking on this, going to be like, this fucking torta was out here.
Not a torta.
I'm like, this torta Jason was out here robbing banks, only managed to make $600, and they're gonna have a video of Helen standing at the door just shaking her head like that was
Like,
stupid.
turn your ass around.
She'll turn me in a heartbeat. Probably won't put no money on my books neither. She'll be like, "What are you
I
doing?
said I put 50 cents.
$50? That don't last nothing in prison."
Well, that sounds like a
I need
personal
to be
problem.
like Kendrick. My commissary made it to commas, or my daddy commissary made it to commas. Can you imagine? I swear to God, I feel like if you're gonna commit crime, if you're gonna do dumb shit, you have to be willing to accept that the whole of the internet is gonna flame you forever. You will forever be known as that dumbass who robbed $600 worth of cash from banks and went to jail. And then on top of that, the clips live on forever. When have you ever seen something go viral on the internet and not be like a constant reminder of your stupidity? It happens all the time. I'm never living that down.
Yeah.
The way my family's set up, the way like my siblings in law are set up, they're clowning me forever.
Facts.
They're gonna be like, dog, you could have done so many other things for $600. But again, I'd be curious to see. They've probably caught him by now. I haven't looked up an update on the
I
story,
haven't.
but I'd be curious to know if they caught him because they had his whole government name.
I wonder if he turned himself in.
Probably hoping to pick up the money. Can you imagine? He's like, damn, if I had known the reward for picking me up was more, I would have just turned myself in sooner. And it's just dumb. Just stop doing dumb shit. I don't understand it. I feel like this, if
I don't know. There's just some stupid people out there, but hey.
what do you, I mean, and I almost feel bad because how desperate do you have to be to do that? I'm sorry. $600 is not worth it.
Nah.
All the shit you got to endure. And he probably won't go to prison, but I also wonder if he learned his lesson, or at least if he's sitting at home like, I hope he sweat a little about it. Don't rob banks, y'all. I'm just saying. Everything has a calculated risk. To me, I can't imagine the conversation he had to have had with himself that morning. He's looking in his mirror, hyping himself up. He's like, you got this. Go rob these banks. Go do crime. He's, in his mind, he's a gangster. Whole time you're out there looking like a fool and walk home with $600.
Yeah, no. Couldn't be me.
Buddy, there are alternatives. There are alternatives. I think you need to know. But, I guess everybody does their own dumb shit, right?
Yep.
So, I try to have something for us to talk about every week. And I tell y'all all the time that conversations are going to range from completely inane, mundane, useless BS. When we talk about music, we talk about a lot of things, but I also like to get serious from time to time. And I always will tell y'all that the purpose of this show is for me to keep it real about everything and anything. And so I had an interesting, how do I want to describe this? I had an interesting breakthrough this week. And it centers around, as I told y'all last week, I'm on a therapy journey. I've been going to therapist. Shout out my therapist. It is an interesting journey because therapy is not something that our people of color, Latinos, black and brown people, that they don't like going to therapy, and it is a very widely known and accepted fact within these communities, within our communities, that therapy, your parents will tell you you don't need therapy, you're fine, go outside, go get some sun,
Mhm.
drink water. And the whole time you're carrying generational trauma that they passed on to you, that was passed on to them, and they never bothered to get help because they bought into the fact that shit was not necessary or that therapy was useless, that depression and mental health struggles are not real things. And they very much are. And so I have been on a therapy journey. More recently, it's been consistent. Like, I really go to my appointments, I do what I got to do. But it started around the time that Helen got sick. Maybe a little bit before that. I was seeing somebody else. I was seeing a different therapist. But my brother passed away. I've mentioned it. If you know me in real life, like, that's a thing that happened. And it happened at a time when, and I recorded an episode about this, and maybe I'll put it out as like a bonus episode in the next coming weeks. But I recorded it last year before his birthday. I had my sister-in-law sit down and we talked for hours about a lot of different things surrounding him. And when it came time to edit the video, I couldn't actually bring myself to look at it. Like, it's been sitting in my files for a year at this point. And it sucks because I had my sister-in-law sit down, and I'm sure it wasn't easy for her to rehash a lot of those things. And for the people that care about him, I'm sure that they would have liked to have heard this episode, but I just couldn't do it. And so it never got released. But I've been going to therapy because of that. Like I said, Helen's diagnosis was hard. I'm sure it was harder on her than I can ever imagine. I know it was, but as a spouse, that's a hard pill to swallow. Like, you've really got to actively try and find ways to prevent this thing that could happen from happening. And just a lot of stuff. And so I got to a point a couple weeks ago in therapy where I kind of felt like, very falsely so, but I kind of felt like I had reached the end of the conversation bag. Like, I really didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
Things have been going better. I'm finding better ways to express myself. I'm back to finding joy in things that I had stopped finding joy in. So I was like, I don't know what to talk about. And then I took a deep breath and I was like, I guess it's finally time to unpack a few things that, like, have nothing to do with the current, that really stem from the past. And in having that conversation, I kind of spent some time, and I say this because, again, I'm not afraid to talk about everything and anything on here, and the journey has to be authentic. I grew up with divorced parents, and I didn't spend a lot of time with my dad growing up, and I spent a lot of years being angry at my dad for the way that things were. I spent a lot of years saying I didn't care and caring very deeply. And then I think I got to this phase the last few years where it's not that I don't care, and it's not that I care too much. It's not that I'm happy or angry. It's that I've come to understand that that is like, it's almost like this box that goes with me everywhere I go. And inside of this box there are things that I probably need to deal with, but I haven't. And I just learned to be okay with that. And so I sat down and I said to my therapist, I said, I think it's finally time that I talk to you about my dad. And it took me 2 weeks to really articulate, 2 sessions, to really fully articulate everything that had happened over the years and the things that I had feelings about. I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but things that had happened over the years that I had feelings about. And she said to me, she's like, or I think I said to her, I was like, and I feel like at this point I just grew up having a very different experience of my father than a lot of other people did. And no matter how many times that I've tried to find ways to ask about it, or I've had conversations surrounding that, unfortunately it goes nowhere. And it gets no, it doesn't land because nobody's really willing to unpack or talk about what the past was, or acknowledge that. And so I said to her, I said, I just want to know why. I don't even need like, I don't need an apology. I don't need a I don't need a promise that things are going to be different. I don't need any of that. And it's not to say that those things aren't valid if that's what applies in your situation. But I knew that at this stage of my life, those things were not going to somehow change the trajectory of the rest of my life. I'm almost 40 years old. I can't go back and redo my childhood. Right. And I think that a lot of us fight those demons of there are so many things that happen in our childhood. So we would like to, but I needed to ask these questions for me. And so she was like, "You should do it. You need to do it." And it took me almost a week of like really trying to hype myself up. And a few days ago, I finally said, I need to do this. And I typed up a message and then I kind of, sounded off with my therapist and I sent it. There was always a very big distinction in how I was treated growing up. And it was noticeable to myself, but it became even more hurtful or it became even more of a thing when I realized that I wasn't the only one noticing it. And so if I'm not the only one noticing it, it moves beyond the realm of am I crazy or is this really happening into like it's confirmed. And I asked the question, and the response that I got back was interesting because it's something that I've heard all my life. But I was always considered the smart child and the capable child. It always seemed like I had a good handle on things. And at first, you hear that answer and you're like, oh, okay, well, they're saying I'm smart and I'm capable. That's a compliment. Like, yeah, absolutely. I feel great about that. And it's not until you really start to dissect those statements and you're like, that's bullshit. Because at the end of the day, being the capable child does not subtract from the fact that I needed support or that I needed somebody to check in with me or that I needed a parent to parent me. It doesn't. And so it's an interesting dynamic because what does that really say? And why is it happening so often in our communities? And I would love to hear your thoughts on this because when it was happening, I was talking to you about it. And it's not this uncommon thing, like, it just happens.
I mean, unfortunately, it's something that I myself have dealt with as being the oldest. It's always been, you know, Helen figures it out, and Helen got it, and Helen this, and Helen that. But it gets to a point where it's just like Helen can't do it alone anymore, and then you start building so much resentment towards those people, towards the people that have no idea that it's even happening. I start getting mad at my sisters because they're getting more attention than I am, or things just seem like they're getting everything handed to them, which was not the case at all. But that was the feeling that I had because it was always like, okay, well, Helen is going to figure it out. Helen's going to do this. Helen, Helen, Helen. And so the response you got for me,
I remember
it was just a
looking at
cop
it.
out. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just the way that I feel. It's not only from that one person, it's from most of the people in your life. It's not just that one person. So if it was just that one person, then it'd be like, but the fact that I feel like it's coming from all, areas because, your grandma looks at you for, to handle things. Your mom looks at you to handle things. Your aunt, your uncle,
Yeah,
like,
so it comes with this unexpected responsibility, right? As you get older. When you're younger, it's a source of pride almost for your parents. Like, look how smart and capable my child is. But at the same time, it's an excuse for them to be like, I don't need to check in as much or be as present a parent because that's my capable and smart child. Or not to say that nobody, let me clarify, nobody said that my brother wasn't smart, right? Or capable. Um, if you're framing it just from the perspective of what was said to me, essentially it becomes you didn't seem like you needed anybody to check in on you. And what that does is it creates a dynamic in somebody who You become a person who constantly needs to be solving everything for everyone to feel like you're serving a purpose in life. It puts a lot of added stress and pressure on your shoulders because it shifts from I need to do the best I can for myself to everybody's counting on me to take care of things on my own because that's what I've always done. And that's not it. There were times that it would have been nice for somebody to check in on me. It would have been nice for somebody to acknowledge that I'm going through things too.
I think, like, for me, I think when it really, like, just hit me like a ton of bricks was when your brother passed away, just seeing how you were not able to grieve. Like, you had no opportunity to grieve. Like, you had no, and some of the things that were, said to you, like, yeah,
I struggled a lot with my brother's death. For a lot of reasons. Again, this episode never came out. I have not shied away from the fact like my brother and I were not in a great space when he passed away, and it wasn't easy for me to process that. And I also like it happened so quickly that I didn't have time to think, and my mind immediately went into right now I just have to be the one, at least for my like I can't speak for my sister-in-law or her experience. I never wouldn't pretend to, but like on my side, it became it's my responsibility to stand up and be the pillar of the family and make decisions and be in the room and say the things and do all that. And nobody ever once, not nobody, the people that should have been checking in on me were not checking in on me. And that was hard. And now it's not just that, but the other reason that I struggle with the response that I receive kind of just being like, I never thought I had to worry about you, or it never seemed like I needed to check in with you because things were different. Okay, sure. You had other things to focus on. You were worried about other things and, other people, other people's concerns or problems took priority. That's fine. But life has changed so much. And
if it had changed, I think it would have been different. But that, you know, obviously your brother's no longer here, and that hasn't changed.
right. And I remember saying to Helen, I was like, it just feels like between all of these things, what happened was I became a person who needed other people's validation to understand that I was doing a good job, or needed other people to tell me that I was on the right track. No, actually no. I needed to hear from other people that like you're solving things. Look at you solving things. Look at you handling everything. There are plenty of days where I don't have anything under control and I don't have anything planned out. I don't know what I'm doing a lot of the time. And so it puts a lot of added pressure on me because when situations come up, my immediate mindset is that I need to fix everything. I need to handle everything. I need to make sure that everything is good. It never, ever, ever occurs to me. It never, ever, ever occurs to me that like other people can step in and help. I just automatically assume that it's my responsibility to take care of everything. And it's bleeding into it has bled into other parts of my life. And so I would just say, like, again, this is not the normal conversation that we typically have, but it's important to explore these sorts of things within yourself and like what do I do moving forward, right? How do I actually look back at that situation, realize that there are things that I can't control and I can't control the things that have already happened, but I can certainly do stuff to move forward from that. And I think a lot of that again comes down to therapy and comes down to talking about it, but it just sucks. Like I wish that it weren't so prevalent in our community specifically where we're forced to deal with the things that our parents burden us with. And then when it comes time for accountability, it's almost like, what do you mean you're traumatized? What do you mean you feel this way? You know?
Or they,
Or
or they'll turn around and victimize themselves. Like, oh, I know I was such a bad parent, and it's like it's not about that. It's about you taking responsibility, take accountability for the fact that you were wrong. And granted, like no parent has a manual that's gonna have them,
No,
know exactly what needs to be done or how to handle, life or how to raise a child. But I think that part of being a mature person is knowing that you messed up, accepting that you messed up, and how are you going to move forward. With that in mind, I think one of the important things too is forgiving. It's hard, but I think that for me, I've learned to forgive because at the end of the day, it's only helping me be able to grow, be able to be happy, be able to just allow the good things that I deserve come to me.
absolutely. In all transparency, chat, like I still haven't responded because I I guess no matter how much you mentally prepare to send a message like that, because I couldn't have that conversation on the phone. I never would have been able to get out of it. But I think that what happens is when you have these conversations, like you mentally prepare for every type of response. I wasn't prepared to get honesty. And I don't necessarily know if I did or didn't get honesty because at the end of the day, my perception of honesty and my perception of what is the truth is completely different than what my dad's perception might be in this conversation. And it might be just as hard for him to say the things that he has to say as it is for me to hear them. But ultimately, I think that we as a generation owe ourselves the favor of asking the hard questions and not shying away from these conversations because it needs to be said, it needs to be understood. What I know now is that it is just as much as I've been able to be capable and smart and handle things my whole life, it's also okay for me to step back and go, part of being capable and smart and strong in this era of my life is accepting that I need to work on me and I need to do things that are going to help me find the peace that I need and find the ways to work around the habits or the mindsets that have been programmed into me as a result of years of responding to negative input by doing other things. I have to find an outlet for this because otherwise I spend my entire life making the same mistakes. I spend my entire life being upset about the same things. And even if nothing else comes out of this, but the fact that I know what it is now and I can move beyond it and I can grow, that's a win in my column. Right. But a lot of that comes from like, you have to at some point let go and give up on the idea of being comfortable all the time. And I don't just mean like the material comforts of life. I mean having uncomfortable conversations is a part of life and a part of growth. And you're not always going to hear what you want to hear. You're not always going to like the outcome of it, but what you will like and what you will take comfort in is knowing that you did what you needed to do.
Yeah.
And I think like it's been a season of really difficult conversations. It's been a big season for me of saying what I need to say and being brutally honest about things and not stressing about what I can't control. Because again, holding on to that shit for too long causes mental stress. It causes absolutely detrimental cracks in your armor. And over time, you become so jaded and so hurt and so angry. And the expectation becomes so often, this is how it is. And I have to accept that, that you will live your whole life being happy, thinking you're happy because you're doing what other people wanted you to do and because you're serving their purpose for them versus serving it for yourself. And that goes for everything in life. That goes for everything in life. You have to find that moment. I had to find that moment. I had to do a lot of like talking to God and really finding that moment where I was like, I need to ask this question and get it off my chest. I need to be willing to accept that I may get no answer. I may get an answer that's complete bullshit. I may get an excuse or I may get,
Yeah.
we've rehashed the same thing, whatever the case is. All of those things are entirely possible, and all of those things have happened to somebody along the way. How you mitigate or how you respond to that disappointment is where growth really comes in. You know, I didn't like the response. I wasn't angry at the response. I was frustrated because I've heard that so many times, and there's a name for it. Did you know that?
No.
That phenomena is
Mm-mm.
called glass child syndrome.
Hmm.
So it is a thing where, like, whether it be for a variety of reasons, parents will say that they don't worry about, or they don't pay as much attention to, or they don't interact with one child as much as another because that other child is fragile or has, more diverse or complex or demanding needs than you might as a child. And so your parents constantly default, and your family constantly defaults to, I don't need to necessarily check in on this person because they're fine. And you're not fine.
At the end of the day, you're a child. You need your parent.
Yeah.
Um, you need that to be able to find who you are. And I think that that also, at least for me, cost a lot of like, I don't want to say like obviously I know who I am, but like identity, because you want to mimic, you want to blend in, you want to, because at the end of the day you want to, like, you crave so much attention, you crave, you just want to be part of something. And
Yeah.
when you're not given the attention that you deserve or that you need, it's almost like you just try and seek it in so many other ways, in so many other
You're
areas.
looking for input. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. At some point, you're just so dysregulated that you're seeking comfort. And I think
Mhm.
that sucks.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people, specifically our generation, make mistakes or do things that are out of character or out of the box for them because they're so desperate for input. They're so desperate to get what they weren't getting from the people in their life that it almost becomes like necessary for survival in a way. I think that I've done a lot of things, I've said a lot of things, I've been a lot of different things for a lot of different people out of what I thought was a necessity to provide. I thought it was my job to provide answers. I thought it was my job to provide solutions. I thought it was my job to provide stability when instability was huge. And now what I'm realizing is I have to prioritize figuring out who I really, really am at this stage in my life. And I have to prioritize seeking out people who are equally willing and ready and able to give me what I need. Right. And again, everybody's journey is different. I thought about it and I was like, I wonder how many people in our generation from our culture experience this and don't know what to call it and don't know what to say about it. And I'm here to tell you, have the conversation. If I can give no other advice, not that anybody's asking for it, but have the conversation, because if you don't, the alternative is being consistently miserable about something that's well within your control to confront. Maybe it fixes everything, maybe it fixes nothing. But have the conversation, because I can guarantee you that as long as it's that burden is off of your chest and out there in the world, it is no longer doing you harm. You're no longer drinking the poison and expecting the other person to die from it.
Mhm.
You're doing the work to step into a better version of yourself. And that is absolutely monumental. Nothing is more important than being the best version of yourself for the people who do show up for you and for the people who depend on you. Like, it's okay. It's okay to ask the hard questions. It's okay to confront a situation that feels like it no longer serves you. You may find you're wrong.
Yeah. And I think that that's kind of like what's so important, and what has honestly, I think, helped at least like our relationship, is the fact that at the end of the day, I know that it's not my job to make sure that Natalie's happy. I know that it's not her job to make sure that I'm happy. We are happy together. We want to, be happy together. And so I think that that's important. Just knowing that at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own happiness. Everybody has been, through things in life. Um, some may say, well, I've been, through a lot more than you have. And I think that at the end of the day, sometimes we want to compete and, compete who had like the worst childhood or who had it, worse. And it's like,
Let's
it's not a
compare
competition.
trauma.
Yeah. Like, it's not a competition. Like, I mean, I could have, fallen on the same rock that you fell, but it didn't mean that it hurt the same. You know, um, it could have hurt more, it could have hurt, less, but and I think that that's important. Just not everything is a competition, and find your happiness. Do what's in your best interest. Forgive those even if they don't deserve it. Because at the end of the day, you're helping your peace of mind. And I think there's nothing more important than your peace of mind, your happiness. Because truthfully, as cliche as it is, you can't love anyone unless you love yourself.
One, I think that a thing that kind of hit me between the eyes, and I was reading it, I forget where I saw it, but it's like nobody is responsible. Nobody is going to take full responsibility for you being happy except for you. Nobody. Nobody is going to wake up today and think, how can I make sure that Natalie's life is optimal comfort or that she's at her optimum happiness? That's up to me to decide. And the second that I start to sort of little by little unpack and unburden these things, I find a lot of things start to make sense to me. Now that I really had that aha moment of this is why I am the way I am, like this makes sense for so many things. It's not that I stopped caring about it, but now I can move on from the space where I'm dwelling on why I'm hung up in so many different ways and I can't seem to understand why I think the way I think, to this is because of this. How do you overcome the consequence? Because the actions already happened. You're never going to get that time back. But how do I overcome the consequences of what happened to me or the consequences of the way that I was expected to think and believe and turn that into something actionable? You have to channel it. You have to figure out how to forgive because it doesn't make sense to hold on to it. And then you have to figure out how to move on from it. You have to figure out what comes beyond the realization, beyond the conversation that's had. What comes beyond tomorrow when it's all out there and now you kind of have to think about, well, what does that mean for me? Does
Hmm.
that make sense? I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling, but I had such a moment of like actual clarity because I was really just out here and I was like, I need to just ask. I'm so tired of holding back or being upset about something and having this one sided beef with myself that may not even impact the other person. I
And that's
think
the
that that's a
thing.
huge thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, you're mad, and sometimes people just don't even know that you're mad at them,
100%.
and they keep, living their life like nothing. And here you are just being mad. Like
100%.
you said, drinking poison, expecting that other person to die. Meantime, that person continues living. And here you are just slowly dying.
You're
And for what?
slowly, yeah, you're slowly losing yourself because you're so wrapped up in the things that happen to you matter, right? The things that happen to you absolutely construct who you are. But I think that at some point, once you acknowledge that something happened to you and you confront it where it's at, you're going to feel a lot better and you can start to move on. I have to consider what it does to me when I have to think about those things. I have to consider the impact that it has across multiple people. And I think that that makes a huge difference too, in terms of me just being willing and ready to confront my stuff where it's at because I want to be the best version of myself and I can't do that if I'm still sick, or if I'm still feeling the effects of things that happened to me and not, for me or for my benefit.
Yeah.
I've let that message sit in my WhatsApp for days. And I keep telling myself that I want to respond. But then the second that I start to like actually formulate a response, probably more sadly, is that I realize that I can't even say I get it now because it doesn't provide closure. It provides clarity. And those two, you're always seeking both and you usually only get one or the other, right? Or getting one, you might look at a situation now, right? And feel a certain way. And a year from now, the perception of that situation is completely different,
Hmm.
right? And the further removed you are from a situation, the better you're able to kind of find clarity and understand mindset and understand what happened,
And I
in
think
that dynamic.
also for you, I see the difference because you've always been that type of person that always gives everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
If anything,
100%.
I've always told you, like, you're too nice. And it's not about being mean, or being rude. You don't have to be either one, but you also have to know and have self-respect. Um, and not let that kind of make you blind to reality. And sometimes, as they say, the truth hurts.
Oh, 100%.
And it sucks, but for me, it's better to live that moment of like, you know, like heartache or heartache or headache or, whatever, feeling sad, whatever, than continue living a life of just lies and deception and not really, and just again, living with those feelings inside of you. And it's just little by little just taking over your body.
The thing is, like, I know that I have to forgive my dad. I know I do. Forgive a lot of people in my life for putting that burden on me. What they thought was a compliment really just created this whole mindset of like, I have to do this or I have to do that. I have to forgive because ultimately that does nothing. Being mad about it does nothing for me. My conundrum or where I stand with the situation and what I think, is you learn things, but then like there's also that moment of what now?
And I think, you're saying that you have to forgive, right? And yes, I agree. At some point, you have to let go and forgive, but also lower your expectations because it can very well be that that situation is not going to change. So you forgive them, but there's no change.
It becomes hard to do anything else if you're still stuck in a phase where you're consistently rehashing the things that hurt you versus moving into a space where you're focusing on the things that heal you. I think that when you can transcend those faults or those wrongs that were done to you and just lean into accepting, not accepting. I think that when you can lean into being okay with things may never be the way you'd like them to be, but at least they're honest, that makes a huge difference. Because I am very aware of the fact that things may never be the way that I wanted them to be. That's okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, giving a lot of the times is not for others, it's for yourself
100%.
because I think life is too short. And from someone who lived with so many like emotions, I lived, in my, and also the thing was with me, my hurt presented itself as anger.
Mm.
And because it presented itself as anger, it was always worse because, oh, she's just bitter. Because I feel like if they really sat back and realized how much it was hurting me, it would be different.
Man, that was heavy a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we had the conversation. I would love to hear y'all's feedback. Again, hit me in chat, send an email to the group chat, comment, like our Instagram stories on this. If you think that this is a relatable thing, if you're kind of going through similar experiences, I'd love to just hear what you think works and what doesn't, right? Because as of today, I'm standing here with the understanding that I probably need to say something, yet I don't know what I want to say.
I think that you taking your time to respond is much better than you just saying something to say something that later on is gonna come off as you just being, this bitter person who's just resentful and because I think that that's not you anymore. Like I think that you are making strides towards
I think that I've come to understand that expectations get broken all the time.
Yeah.
I think that expectations are a weird construct in terms of like it's what we hope other people are do while saying that we don't want to control the other person's narrative or story or whatever.
That's the other thing too, though, right? You're saying that. And the response for us, it doesn't seem genuine based on our experience.
Yeah.
But it can very well be that that person is being genuine. But you will never know that because, again, you don't know this person. It's never been like you have actually had this person in your life for longer than a week
Yeah.
or 2 weeks.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I'll keep y'all updated. I say all that to say that, like, I am a big believer in spend time finding yourself, spend time figuring out what makes sense for you because nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody. We have a lot of work to do as a generation that's like constantly colliding with traumatic events. And there's always some shit going on. But it's important, like, take time to get to know yourself, take time to get to know the topics that matter to you.
Yeah,
Right.
I think therapy is really important. I was like I hated the even, the thought of even having to share everything that has happened to me or things that have happened to me with a total stranger. But I am thankful that my therapist is amazing. They have helped me so much. Sometimes I don't like to hear, the things that are said to me. Again, the truth hurts, but I appreciate it because I am slowly getting to be a little bit of my old self. I'm getting there. And I think that is just it's been really great to get to know Helen before
I'm a big fan of that.
everything, happened. So I think it's important. I think mental health is really important in our community, in the Spanish community. Mental health is just a taboo.
Yeah, it's like I don't know why. I don't know why that is. I guess it's because they feel parents, like Hispanic parents, they feel like it's a sign of weakness or like you're saying that you can't handle things on your own or you can't let go and let God.
Again, victimizing. Um,
Oh yeah.
just take accountability.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think we had a good week this week.
Yeah.
That was a really good conversation. I know it deviates a little bit from our normal content. But then again, no, it doesn't because we're having good conversation. So I'd welcome y'all jump in the chat, talk about how you feel, leave a comment if this was an experience that's common to you or if it's something you're working through, if you feel comfortable sharing. And we'll definitely talk about it. But I appreciate you being on this week. If we had a good time.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah. Anything you want to say to the people before we go? Where can they find you on social media?
WT Helen. That's WT Helen. 1L.
At Instagram.
At Instagram, yes.
Okay.
I'm also the same on Facebook.
And your TikTok is the words what the Helen 82 spelled out. So what the Helen 82 on TikTok or at what the Helen 82 on TikTok. Helen is still on the hunt for a kidney at this point in time. We're continuing to have faith and hope and be prayerful about it. But if this video reaches you and you feel so inclined to get checked, you feel so inclined to see if you might be the match that saves her life, or maybe you know somebody who might be interested in being a living kidney donor, I would really, really, really appreciate it if each and every one of y'all could take that into consideration. Remember it when you're out there having your conversations. And if you do decide you want to sign up, you can go to MGH Living Donors with an S.org. MGH Living Donors with an S. If you hit my Instagram bio, me at Nguzzy, that's Nguzzzy at Nguzzy on Instagram. At Hey It's Guzzy on TikTok if you want my personal TikTok. You could totally slide it into the DMs, send an email to the show, but we just want to make sure that if you do feel so inclined, you can get those details from multiple spaces. Again, you can get them in my Instagram bio. You can hit MGH Living Donors.org. We would certainly appreciate it. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I redid our link tree. I spent a lot of time on our link tree. So if you ever want to know where you can find additional episodes of this show, if you're joining now and thinking, I like the way these people talk, you can go to Friends Like Mine Pod. That's at Friends with an S, Like Mine Pod on Instagram. Check our bio. You'll see our link tree there. We have past episodes. We have songs of the week that you can find in very nice and convenient playlists. We post a lot of pictures about the things that we talk about. And most importantly, if today's conversation moved you, if you felt like it was definitely a conversation that's been telling you it's time to take that step and find a licensed professional to talk to, we are not sponsored by Talkspace yet. We're going to manifest that. However, through Linktree, we have partnered to be an affiliate for Talkspace, where you can go select the link on our Linktree. It'll say that get $80 off your first month with or without insurance. If you use the code that's included in that link and you click through from that link on our Linktree, you're going to get $80 off your first month of Talkspace. And in addition, it gives us a little bit of something so that we can buy ourselves a cup of coffee and a snack on recording days. We truly appreciate it. Again, no obligation. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm telling you as somebody who personally uses Talkspace every single week. The platform is easy, it's convenient, it's incredibly useful, and it gives you the opportunity to pair with a therapist who's licensed in your area and who can absolutely sit down and have a conversation with you and help you start to work your things out. There are a lot of different features and functionalities that I truly appreciate about Talkspace. And so again, you can find that link in our link tree. It does give
Yeah.
you $80 off your first month with or without insurance. Okay, with or without insurance is key because obviously that does make a difference. And we do get a little bit of something from that. Like I said, it'll help you girls buy coffee and snacks on recording day. Other than that, again, Helen needs your help finding a kidney. Please don't hesitate to reach her on WT Helen at Instagram at WT Helen. And you can get more information there if you're so inclined to do that or know somebody who is. Other than that, thanks for joining us for another great episode, friends. We truly appreciate you. Anything you want to say to people on the way out, Helen?
No, I mean, other than if you don't have it in your heart to be that donor, that's perfectly fine. I appreciate, prayers, thoughts,
100%. All
words
that's
of
welcome.
encouragement,
Yes.
just whatever.
Absolutely.
Share my story. I mean, I'm not anyone necessarily special. There's tons of people like me. But you may not be a match for me, but you could be a match for somebody else.
Absolutely.
And that's important too.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everyone, for the love, the support, the hate, the likes, the
The good, the bad,
dislikes,
and
the
the
bad, the
ugly.
ugly, whatever. We're here for it. We love it. And we'll see you till next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of Friends Like Mine.